Honey, Nancy Grace is on the case. She is slamming Diddy. And guess what? Did you guys know that he was using horse tranquilizers to take out grown men? Let me tell you what they say he have done. He invite a whole bunch of people into his Diddy party, right? Then he have certain individuals who he is scoping out in the party that he want to take down that night. So he will have like servers come up to them, not knowing it was certain substances in their drink that would get them to be a little bit sleepy or to get them to, feel some type of way where they will want to stay longer. They feel like, oh, I can't drive, or they may just feel too good of a time. I don't know exactly what he was putting in them drinks, but he was putting in them drinks and have his servers go pick certain those men that he would want to stay late. Then he will knock them out with some horse tranquilizers. And they say, horse tranquilizers is some medication to knock horses out. And can you imagine what it do for grown men? And once he knock them out, we heard that video of Meek Mills. It's a video going around. Meek Mills is denying it. We don't know if it's actually him or not. But we hear Diddy taking somebody pound town. Now, I don't think Meek Mills was on horse tranquilizer, because I don't think he would be screaming and yelling like that. I think a horse tranquilizer, you're not going to hear anybody, right? Do you really think he was on horse tranquilizer screaming like that? Nah, he wasn't on that horse. Other people was on horse and maybe they can't speak, maybe they don't remember. Well, anyway, they say they have video footage of this as well. And the feds, they have all this. And they created a hotline. They said over 12,000 people have called in. And they are saying that they got tapes, Diddy tapes, Will Smith on them tapes, T.D. Jakes on them tapes, Steve Harvey on them tapes, Tyler Perry on them tapes. They said those men, they are going around paying off victims. I don't know how true this is, but this is what I'm hearing around the streets. So I have Nancy Grace here, and I want to play some of her video, and I want to get your feedback on what she's saying about this horse tranquilizer and Diddy. Honey, we are living in a dark, dangerous time. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. All right, let's get these likes up. So check out this recording.
Breaking news tonight: Diddy party cocktail and horse trank. That's horse tranquilizer. Did he actually feed this to his guests? This while Sean Combs' mother drops a bombshell. Good evening, I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you. A lot of Hollywood celebrities are shaking in their boots because they know they are going to be named, not by the feds, by the civil lawyer, Busby. And remember this, the prosecutors are held to a certain ethical duty as prosecutors. The civil arena is a whole nother animal. There is nothing to stop Busby from naming celebs, taking names, and naming them out loud. So we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. This, as we learned, that Diddy's party cocktail, that's certainly putting perfume on the pig. Some people call it the cocktail. Their words, not mine. Includes cocaine and horse trank. Listen.
Several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine, or trank, which based on our research is known as a horse tranquilizer.
Horse tranquilizer. If it knocks out a horse, what does it do to a lady? Say average weight 105 to 125? What does that do to a human being? You heard Tony Busby, the civil lawyer who is getting thousands and thousands of calls on a Diddy hotline, refer to xylazine, known as trank. It's a veterinary tranquilizer. It's found in illicit drugs. And this is what we've learned from speaking to experts. It slows breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure to dangerously low levels. It's very hard to reverse. Overdose reversal meds like Narcan do not reverse the effects of xylazine. In other words, for instance, Prince, when he OD'd on an opiate, possibly fentanyl, Narcan, if he had had it, would have saved his life. If you OD on xylazine, there is not a drug reversal antidote. Joining me an all-star panel to make sense of what we know tonight. But first, straight out to Alex West joining us, investigative and entertainment reporter with The Mirror. Alex, thank you for being with us. Horse trank and cocaine at a party, and guests reportedly didn't know that they were being drugged with that. Professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet, and star of a hit series Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, what is horse trank? I mean, look, if it knocks out a horse, what will it do to a person?
It'll take them down to their knees, Nancy. Xylazine is specifically what they're referring to in this particular case. And so it's used, it's a non-opiate related substance. So you're not talking about something necessarily like a fentanyl here, or like some kind of synthetic opiate. What we're talking about is something that it's expressly meant to use on equines, which are horses, in order to sedate them for surgery. So
there's four things you can weave together. One, some of these victims sought medical treatment. Those medical records and the result of that blood work they can get. You've got eyewitnesses at these parties. Perhaps they saw it. Number three, you've got the person that made the purchase. Keep in mind, Diddy didn't go out on the street and trank. He didn't. And all these folks that are associated with him that are now under this microscope, they are going to learn whoever talks first gets the deal. Somebody may very well come forward and explain what went down on top of what was seized during these raids. So all four of those things can paint a picture.
Cheryl. I can have 50 cops say, I saw him sell a hit. But if it's not tested at the lab, Cheryl, you still don't have a case. Period. I hear what you're saying. Do you know he used it? Yes. Do I believe he used horse trank on victims? Yes. Does Joe Scott? Yes. Did they find it in his mansion? Maybe. Let's just pretend yes. I still can't prove what substance was administered to those partygoers unless they were tested at the hospital and it showed up. Joe Scott Morgan joining me. I want to follow up. And I appreciate what you said, Cheryl. And yes, I would put it on my board proving guilt, but it's not enough to bring a horse trank case. It's just not enough against Diddy. We have to be realistic. We don't want to ruin the rest of the case. Again, Joe Scott Morgan, I'm talking about horse trank being used on these victims without their knowledge. What about this? A horse trank victim has stated, and I'll only call her Jessica, it eats your skin away and you just have a hole and then it leaves a scar. I know horse trank can cause ulcers, can cause actually like holes in your skin. Why? I mean, look, my first cousin is a horse trainer. Horses are huge. How much do they weigh, Jackie? I mean, hundreds and hundreds of pounds. You know about Google, right? What, Liz? Oh, dear Lord in heaven. 2,000 pounds. If that can knock out a horse, what does it do to a person? So why would this trank cause ulcers, cause, as Jessica said, holes in her skin?
I got to tell you, I have not heard this before, but I have heard something similar to this. And I know that covering drug cases, you've encountered this with people that use injectables. If they skin pop, for instance, which means they don't go into a vein, they actually go into the sub-Q fat and they start to inject this way, you can have ulcerated areas that will appear. So was this drug being administered with a syringe, because I got to tell you, it doesn't sound like the normal course when you're trying to administer something that is the equivalent of it's serving the same function as a date rape drug. So you would administer it orally. So is she saying that it burned a hole in her mouth? I've had cocaine overdoses before with people with chronic cocaine problems that died, and the septum in the nose would ulcerate, and you would have that kind of reaction. But that's over a protracted period of time. This almost sounds like if that's what if we're to believe the
You
statement.
mean like Michael Jackson and his nose falling apart?
Well, no, I think that maybe I can't speak to that, but I know for a fact I've done or participated in investigations and autopsies with individuals that had eroded septums as a result of what they were snorting.
Are you saying the septum is that cartilage in the middle of your nose?
Right, that splits your nostrils in two. Yeah. And so you'll get that ulcerated area there. But many times, because these drugs are cut with things, all right, you don't know what the agent is in there that they're cutting it. And the idea here, just so our friends understand, they try to extend the life of the drug that they have. So you don't know what the skin is coming in contact with, Nancy.
Well, this is what I know, Joe Scott, from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Xylazine, which is horse trank, which reportedly Diddy's feeding to his guests in order to sex assault them, unbeknownst to them, is associated with skin wounds, open sores, ulcers, and abscesses. Now, while his party victims are suffering potential skin wounds, open sores, and abscesses, he's not worried. He's chillaxing with some mango, people. Check it out.
With the ocean as your backdrop. I ain't special. I just want it bad. You feel me? I'm not going to allow myself to not have mango. So I hustle hard, you know what I'm saying? I'm good my way. No, baby.
Thanks, Diddy, for that Insta.
These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data.
We are learning that his, Tony Busby's, hotline was besieged with 12,000 calls in just 24 hours after our last program. 12,000 calls in 24 hours, less than 24 hours. I wonder if any of those calls were from Hollywood celebrities. Listen.
If you were attending one of these parties, if you will, and you attended before, or you knew what was going to happen, that is, you knew that a particular drug was being used in drinks that was causing people to be coerced and taken advantage of, and you were there in the room, or you participated, or you watched it happen and didn't say anything, or you helped cover it up, in my view, you have a problem.
Yeah. That's to you, celebs in Hollywood. That is Tony Busby, the attorney, speaking, and we were given that from our friend Harvey Levin at TMZ. Lynn Shaw joining me, founder, director, Lynn's Warriors, dedicated to ending sexual exploitation. Lynn, 12,000 calls in 24 hours after our last program. Horse trank, cocaine, cocktail. Jump in, Lynn.
I don't even know where to start with this, but bring back Dr. Bethany right now because I need a shrink over this dirty Diddy. First of all, let's focus on the xylazine. Has anybody seen the images coming out of Kensington, Pennsylvania? Because that is what traditionally media shows you. People just flat out in the streets, bend over from the waist, nobody immobilized, nobody moving. Now, I know this is a family program, Nancy. However, we are hearing it's injected also mixed with other drugs, rendering people, they can't move. So let's talk about that. And yes, we work with law enforcement here at the Warriors, and they tell us this is the biggest thing going on, DEA also, that they don't know what to do about this trank. It makes your skin fall off. We have seen this over and over again. So this dirty Diddy doing this to people, but again, we have to stick with the facts. So we've got plenty of facts. We've got 12,000 people that have come forward. We always start with that the Warriors believe the victim and then cut it down from there. But 12,000, and last week we heard 3,285. And I also want to focus always on what were reported to be minors at the time, and men and boys. We are not putting the focus on that because we at the Warriors think this may just be a whole sex trafficking operation geared towards minors and men. That's what we think.
You know, I don't see it. Alex West joining me, investigative and entertainment reporter with The Mirror. I hear what Lynn is saying. At first, I did not accept that there were child victims, alleged child victims. But then when I saw one after the next, after the next, after the next, and so on, of allegations about particular child victims and how they were trying to break into the business and they get to know Combs and then they're assaulted. I mean, are they all lying? I find that very difficult to believe. I wonder, was it the persona that he projected that makes you think he would not be interested in children? What about it, Alex West?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that he did do in terms of getting close to children, he was on Sesame Street. So things like that, you have to remember that he was a mentor to people. At no point did it seem like, he would be nefarious towards children, which is why you might be hesitant to believe it.
Girl, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. I want to know, what are your thoughts about this? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I'll see you guys on another video. Bye.